Today I messed up by getting locked out of my phone. I recently got a new phone, Pixel 7a, and it's been fine so far. Today I was chilling at home with my husband and I picked up my phone to look up something. I tried my fingerprint, and it didn't work, so it asked me for the PIN. I entered my PIN and it didn't work. I kept trying and it wouldn't let me in. So I started asking myself what I could do to get into my phone if it wouldn't accept the correct PIN. Eventually I found that other people had the same issue, and the only thing to be done is a factory reset. So I proceeded to factory reset the phone. But then it was having trouble downloading the data and syncing with my account. I didn't understand what was going on. It was very frustrating. My husband was very sympathetic with my situation. Then, my husband went to grab his phone and that was the moment he realized that I was holding his phone, and not mine. We have very similar phones with almost exactly the same cases, and from the front, they look exactly the same. Even the lock screen, which I had been looking at during my ordeal, is two versions of the same picture. So I am a complete idiot. I picked up my husband's phone, thinking it was mine, couldn't get in, and ended up completely wiping his phone of everything, before he told me it wasn't even my phone. He was pretty frustrated, especially since he isn't great at remembering passwords. I felt so incredibly stupid and so bad that I had reset his phone. He managed to get back into his account and recovered most of his stuff, besides a couple weeks of text messages. Thankfully, he wasn't mad, and forgave me immediately. But I feel like a complete dumbass. Today I messed up by being oblivious of my own body. Today I, 29F, was putting on makeup when I realized that my nose looked a little funny. Upon closer inspection I saw that my septum is severely deviated. I sprang into panic mode a little bit, racking my brain for ways I could have injured myself, but nothing came to mind. I asked my fiancée about it, she said she hadn't noticed, but now that you mention it, damn it is really deviated. True to my hypochondriac nature, and I fell down the WebMD rabbit hole, trying to figure out what could have caused this to randomly happen, and what symptoms can come with having a deviated septum. Breathing trouble, sleep apnea, bad headaches, etc. After fixating on this for a few hours and scaring myself with the possible symptoms I felt I was destined to develop, I was finally able to rub two of my brain cells together long enough to call my mom. I asked her if I always had one, and that's how I found out that I indeed have always had a severely deviated septum, as does my mom, and her mom before her. 29 years. Never noticed it on her or myself. I looked back at old photos of me and it was always there. Knowing that it's been like that the whole time eases the stress quite a bit. I figure if I've been breathing okay this long I'll probably continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Mostly I'm just boggled that I had no idea, and it never came up even once in conversation, because I tell you, it's deviated as all hell. One of those things I guess you can unsee. Today I messed up by not cleaning my mushrooms. I was in the woods today looking for a mushroom called chicken of the woods, and I was lucky and found some, but it was next to / grown in with Amanita muscaria mushrooms, Mario Stoner shrooms. I tried my best to remove it all and most of it was visibly removed, and thought I got it all. When I got home 2 hours ago I made it into a nice tasting stew. It was delicious and I ate it all, and then an hour ago I realized I should have sensed the mushroom off as I noticed something was off with me. I was having trouble focusing on TV, and even standing, and realized that some of the Amanita muscaria must have been in the soup by accident, and I was mildly tripping out. It won't kill me so I will be fine, so I don't need to go to the doc or anything like that. Just remember the lesson of this story, always clean your mushrooms before eating them. Today I messed up by touching a cigarette lighter. I was sitting in my car and noticed a button with a cigarette and got curious if it actually worked. I pushed down the button and noticed it wouldn't unpress. I unscrewed it and touched the bottom of it to try to push it back up, and it was equivalent to touching a stove. I screamed and threw it away as a reaction. I immediately smelled my burnt skin. It was awful. The car is a 2018 BMW X5, so I thought they did away with real cigarette lighters a while ago. My dumbass literally touched it in the last place you're supposed to. I now have a really bad burn on my finger that is yellow. This is something kids do, and I'm 21. Anyway, if anyone has some tips on how to treat this type of burn, please let me know. Today I messed up by assuming that the car I bought in the US was set to miles, for 7 years. In 2016, my 18-year-old self purchased a common used car from an old man who lived in Ohio. Everything checked out, he had a clean title in hand, maintenance records, and the test drive revealed no issues. Shortly after purchasing the car, my father remarked that I was really putting on the miles fast and as a result, there were pretty frequent oil changes. I brushed his comments aside as I did drive the car daily and take it on some weekend adventures. Fast forward to this year, with my car now at 179k, it had to go into a service shop for repair after some warning lights came on. The shop provided me with a diagnostic sheet from a tool they plugged into my car, which showed my car only had 111k miles. I pointed out the mistake but the mechanic was confident the sheet was correct. We took a look at the odometer and he remarked how it was unusual that there was no indication of the unit it was in, but he noted the speedometer was labeled in miles. After some debate we pulled up a km to miles calculator, finding that 179 km equals, you guessed it, 111 k-miles. We then tested the theory by driving and recording the distance to check versus the odometer, and sure enough it confirmed our suspicions that my mileage was actually kilometage. The mechanic went to toggle the setting that should have put it back to miles, but discovered feature to be broken, leaving my car's odometer stuck in km. He said I could pay to have someone try to fix it, but then pointed out that all of this car's records, title, maintenance, insurance, etc., including the ones from the previous owner, were also in kilometers marked incorrectly as miles. Trying to reverse it back to miles would be a lengthy and expensive process, and I might get flagged for trying to commit odometer fraud by rolling it back. So now I'm stuck with my car with an odometer and all of its records in km marked incorrectly as miles. I'll likely be unable to sell it with the false paperwork and have spent hundreds of unnecessary dollars in extra oil changes and other routine maintenance based on the mileage. The upside is I purchased it for a good deal since the previous owner was also under the impression that it was in miles.